Welcome back, Sober Family. This is another episode of Recovery Talk brought to you by Pro Recovery Power. I hope you guys are having a great start to your weekend. Hope you guys are staying sober if that's your jam, you know. But I'm really excited about the lives that we got today, right now, and at 3 p.m. I had a hard time sleeping last night. A lot of you guys do know, the new followers may not know, but I am born and raised in Hawaii. I do live in California. And today I got a fellow native of Hawaii going live with me. Here in a second, I'll get him on here. What's up, guys? What's up, Sue? Reggae Sue, jamming that reggae music out there in New York. What's cracking? And just, I just want to thank everybody for all of you guys continued love and support for Pro Recovery Power. As you guys know, we did get to nonprofit status. That has been our goal for several months now, and I haven't even it hasn't even been 1 year since I've created Pro Recovery Power Instagram. That's where it all started. It all started with an idea to help somebody else other than myself, and it just blew up. Recovery clothing line, nonprofit, all these things now. It's amazing how my vision has expanded so much since then. Since it was August 19th, it's coming up on 1 year. It's amazing. Like I like to say, one touch of God's favor is worth more than 10 years of labor, and this is a living example of that. Doors are just flying open. It was just effortlessly that all of this has happened. But anyways, thank you guys so much. Let me get Tad on here, and then we can get this party started. Hey, Tiff. What's up, Chris? Oh, there he is.
All right.
What's up, bro?
What's up,
How's it
guys?
going?
What's up, Aliko?
All right.
How's it?
Good. How's it? Good, man. How's the weather out there in Kona?
Uh, you know, um, it's humid, it's
Yeah.
sunny, and it's good.
Yeah. Oh, right
Be
on,
because
bro.
because I used to see the weather from my closet before, so.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I can relate to that, bro. It is hot, bro. Hawaii. For those of you who've never been to Hawaii, it is very, very humid and hot. Like I'll be doing drugs all day in my house, in my bathroom, just sweating, just losing weight, man. Like for 2 days, it was just insane.
Yeah. Anytime somebody brings up that Jenny crack diet, I laugh, but it's like, but at the same time, it's like, oh yeah, no, that's for real.
Yeah.
You drop weight like fast.
Yeah. Well, right on, bro. Well, thank you so much. What's up, Chris? Thank you so much, bro, for being here, and taking this time out to spread some hope and share your message of hope, your experience, strength, and hope. Because we was talking earlier, and specifically about Hawaii, and like how recovery is needed there. And being a nonprofit now, we can do that. We can really help people on a bigger scale than just me on my own. One is too small a number to do anything significant. I cannot really fulfill my purpose by myself, and I understand that. I know that. It takes people like you, Brad, to unselfishly give their time, because somebody here. Because I always post this after it's over. Somebody live now, or when somebody watches it later, you can say something that literally can change the whole trajectory of their life, and their life will never be the same because of you taking the time. So I really appreciate that, man. I really, I'm so glad that I created this platform for other people, to share, man. Because, bruh, people is dying out there. People are struggling. Homes are being torn apart. Divorce is happening. Kids going into, getting taken away from CPS. All kind of stuff, bro. All kind of chaos. That all led back to addiction, pretty much. It's all intertwined. All this stuff, domestic
And
violence.
yeah, and the truth of it is, it's like we don't know who we affect, you know,
Yeah.
whether directly or indirectly.
Hmm.
How we conduct ourselves, and obviously with the children, for those that have kids, we do make an absolute effect, whether we know it or not. They're always watching us, right?
Yeah.
But like, even for a newcomer, if you talk about a newcomer as a child, coming into something brand new,
Right.
it's important that we walk, or we talk and walk and walk and talk the talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, watch our feet and not so much what's coming out of our mouth,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
most of us that are that are alcoholics and addicts, we as soon as we open our mouth, it's like it's doubtful, like, oh, this guy telling me the truth or
Yeah.
what. So.
Yeah. It's so funny. I just posted something to my personal page before we went live. And I forgot where I heard it, but it stuck with me. It was in some like leadership course, but the guy said it's in regards of being a teacher, and he said master teachers don't teach; they demonstrate. So I'm like, I can relate everything to recovery today, everything. So the same thing in recovery. Like we should probably before we open our mouth, we should make sure we're doing what we're about to say, kind of thing, because
Hmm.
that is how we demonstrate being an example is by living it, by showing people what it looks like, not telling them what it looks like,
Hmm.
showing them what it looks like, but how we carry ourselves as human beings today. But okay, bro, before we get started, I just want to ask you a few questions. Um, the first question is, how long have you been sober?
So my sobriety and clean date is November 7th, 2003.
Oh, all
So I got
right,
I
bro.
got sober at 24.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
one of the lucky ones, bro.
Well, I was just a really shitty alcoholic and addict. Like, I didn't know how to do it good. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
So yeah, in a lot of, like, that's my ego, but like I was a really crappy, like, I was the worst drug dealer because, like, I was my best customer,
You're right.
and like I thought I could really outsmart alcoholism and addiction. I thought I could outthink of it, like
Yeah,
outthink it, and I couldn't. Like, there's just no way. You can't do it. I mean, for me, as an alcoholic addict.
yeah, absolutely, bro.
Yeah.
And then next question is, where are you from?
So, I guess I'll kind of be full disclosure. So I was actually born in San Francisco.
Okay, okay.
My father lived in he was working for the airlines, so we lived up there, and then we moved to Oahu. I grew up in Oahu for the most part,
Mhm.
all my life, and then grew up in Oahu. Went to school in California. Sub Cali peeps. I went to Whittier College,
Mm,
um, and then I basically I did a geographical move. So I couldn't get clean in my hometown, so I moved to the Big Island,
mhm.
in Hilo. That's where I got sober.
Yeah. And for those of you people don't know, the bottom part of Tad's hat, that's not the British flag.
Yeah.
That's the Hawaiian flag. People can get
Yes.
that confused. But
Yes.
that's not the original Hawaiian flag. That's the Hawaiian flag we have today. Way back
Correct.
back when it was a kingdom, the flag looked a lot different.
Hmm.
But okay, right on, bro. That's good to know. And then last question before we get into this is, what was your choice in drink and or drug?
So for me, I was pretty much just beer. I mean, I wasn't much of a exotic drinker. Um, and like, so this was in the late 90s. I mean, this was and especially in California, like ecstasy was a big thing back then.
Mhm.
Um, and then when I transferred, when I got kicked out of college at Whittier, I went to one of the schools here, and I got introduced to ice, which is methamphetamine,
Mhm.
speed, and that basically that took me running. Like, from the very first hit, I was
Mhm.
like, I kind of met my maker. I met my reason, my purpose.
Mhm.
That was my everything. Um, and that's basically how it's what I call my sobriety accelerator
Yeah,
was
yeah,
ice, because it
yeah,
brought me down to my knees real quick. It
yeah.
didn't take long.
Man, surprised I never see Dog the Bounty Hunter chasing you down back
Well,
then.
yeah, and here's the thing. It's like, in a lot of ways. So and we talk about this in recovery all the time. Like, there's a line where you become, a user, and then you cross this line to addiction, where you become
Hmm.
an addict.
Hmm.
And I don't know where at that point that I crossed that line, but there's no going back to
Right.
moderation.
No,
You know,
no.
there's no back to normal drinking and using for someone like me. So
Hmm.
once I crossed that line, there was no going back. And I was very fortunate, because, like, hey, I've never been arrested.
Hmm.
I've never spent a day in prison. I've never gone to jail. But that doesn't like it doesn't have to be that. Like
Yeah.
everybody's bottom is different. Like, and we talked
Right.
about this earlier. Like
Hmm.
raising the bottom for
Yeah.
people. Like you
Hmm.
don't have to do that in order to realize that, hey, my life is like I need to change my life. Like we don't have to be those people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not to say that nobody's better or less than. You know, it's
Hmm.
just but like we can change. We can raise that bottom for people.
Absolutely, man.
You know.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree.
Hmm.
Okay, before we get into your story, Tad, real quick, I just want to talk about Pro Recovery Power for a second. And thank you guys again for your support. If you guys would be so kind, if you can go to our website, prorecoverypower.com. If you're on your computer, on your phone, the bottom right-hand corner, it'll say questionnaire if you're on your computer. If you're on your phone, it's like a little circle. You click on that, there's a few questions. If you guys could answer, because what that does, it help us to track our success or track our progress, measure our success, and see where we can improve, and moving this vision forward, to helping people. So thank you guys so much for that. And without further ado, Bal, I give you the floor to tell us your story.
Okay, how much time do I have? Because I gotta have time. I'm part Portuguese, so I can talk a lot here.
Yeah, okay, Bal. You can go. You get maybe 30 minutes, Bal, to like
Okay,
12, 50, or 12:40.
okay, perfect,
Yeah,
perfect. Okay,
yeah.
okay. Um, so yeah, I grew up in Oahu, which is the most populated of the islands.
Hmm.
Um, I'm the oldest of four children. Um, our parents were divorced pretty young. Obviously, that was devastating. Um, One of the things that got us out, and this all ties into the end, but one of the things that my family thought was good for us to stay out of trouble was to play sports. And so I grew up playing sports, neighborhood kids, the peers,
Hmm.
and I found that sports was a good outlet for me, as far as being somebody, being
Right.
someone, being someone of importance. And so I went to private school in Honolulu. Um, we were and so let me tell you this. So my first drink was also my first drunk, was
Hmm.
also my first blackout. So I think those red flags kind of from the get-go,
Yeah.
I should have picked it up from the beginning. I was 13 years old and I had to get saved out in North Shore um, because I was out in the ocean hallucinating, thinking that this girl I had a resentment against was like um, whatever. So like I was trying to go rescue her, and then ended up getting rescued. Woke up with vomit or palu all over the facial mask on the side of the bed, and just feeling like just crap, And but here was the thing though, the guys was like, my peers were like, "Oh, bruh, you was an animal that night. Like you was crazy."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Really?" Because like I don't remember like a lot, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and that in a lot of ways, that pressure, that peer pressure, that seeking approval, the
Hmm.
need to be validated by my peers, had superseded more. Like that was more important than that feeling of because alcohol helped me. It helped me like
Yeah.
release my inhibitions, like my fears, like just I can beat a man,
Uh-huh.
but that took priority for me.
Mm.
So I needed to do whatever I needed to do in order to continue that. So I kept doing that, and so you know drinking, smoking weed, in high school and stuff. Nothing crazy. Snort a line here and there, but nothing, nothing crazy.
Mhm.
Um, but we were state champs for baseball,
Mm.
and I was a state MVP player. Um, I had some guys looking at me for college, even professional baseball.
Yeah.
This was like and know the kind of I love Shane Victorino. Like he wasn't even
Mm.
on the map at the time. And
Yeah.
we were the same class. Like we were
Oh.
we were the guys. But having said that, that ego and pride was the very thing that will play down the line as far
Mm.
as like my surrender to
Mhm.
alcoholism, because in sports we learn not to, we don't retreat,
Yeah.
right? Just like the 300, never
Yeah.
retreat, never surrender. We
Mhm.
do not give up, especially when you're Hawaiian.
Yeah.
We got a pride factor in there where you're like, I
Yeah.
get them, I don't need
Yeah.
help, I get
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that all plays a factor into this. So I got a scholarship to play college, and my sophomore year, I was like third All American. Like I was like third in the nation in home runs, but I wasn't showing up to the games because I was hungover.
Mm.
Like I missed 7 games that year because
Oh, wow.
I was drunk, and I didn't even show up to the games. But they couldn't really kick me out too. It was just like it was kind of like it was like a double-edged sword. Like we gotta keep him when he's playing because he's good, but like he sucks because he's not here half the time. You know,
Yeah.
like it was one of those things, and I used that. That was the chip on my shoulder. Like, don't
Hmm.
you know, you guys need me.
Right,
I don't
right.
need you. You
Yeah.
know, the small Hawaiian boy cannot grow facial hair. You know, like just and so it carried with me, and then I got kicked out. And the coach told me, he said, you know what, you're never gonna play ball again. And I was like, yeah, I'll find a scholarship somewhere. I'll go play somewhere. And so I ended up transferring to UH over here, and because they had offered me a full ride when I came out of high school. So I was like, hey, here's my stats. You guys want to take me up? They're like, we'll let you try out. I'm like, try out? Bruh, don't you know who I am? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
because I didn't want to try out, I ended up I would show up to the games drunk, and then got kicked out of one of the games because I was over that third baseline. I was like, you guys suck. You guys ever like pick me up? You guys suck. And they kicked me out. Um, so fast forward, I got into I had a roommate that was smoking out of this glass pipe, and I had dabbled in certain things, never tried ice before. I was like, hey bro, what you doing? And he goes, you don't want to try this. Like you don't want to do this. I'm like, bruh, don't you know who I am? You know what I mean? Like, bruh, I I got this.
Yeah.
He's like, no, you don't want to do this. You don't know what you're getting into.
Mhm.
And I said, Brad, just bring it on. And I'll tell you, I went from Asian eyes to like dollar signs. Like my eyes was like bulging from them,
Yeah.
that euphoria of what I was looking for, everything that I was
Mm.
looking for, that feeling of being able to lift a Naha stone, or being
Yeah.
able to jump 10 feet to spike a volleyball, or to
Mhm.
like become ready, like I could start playing music and learn how to sing, write my own songs,
Uh-huh.
like all these things. Like I was like, oh, I this euphoria, that's the chase. And that's what they talk about, like the chase.
Hmm.
Because for me, I was never able, no matter how much I smoked or used, I could never get that initial
Mm.
first feeling
Yeah.
of being high from ice, and I was chasing ever since. So that was around 1920. I got a job. I don't even know how I passed the drug test, but I got a job working for because I got kicked out of there after a year, and I worked for airlines. And I'll kind of fast forward because I want to get more into the recovery part. But
Hmm.
basically, um, I got kind of spooked into treatment because one of the guys that we were running for a guy, and he got busted, and I was afraid he was gonna rat me out. So I called the employee assistance program.
Hmm.
I said, "Yeah, I need to get help." So they introduced me to a treatment center called Hinamauka in Kaneohe. So that was my first introduction to recovery. I didn't get sober. I didn't stay sober.
Hmm.
I, I I was just finding a way to take a break to figure out how to use better.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I
Yep.
wasn't done. Like I'm 22. Like I can't just like be sober forever. No
Yeah.
way. And so in and out of recovery, and then came to the part where like that line of alcoholism and addiction got really bad. I mean, that's when like the hallucinations,
Hmm.
the teeth started falling out, my hair started falling out, I was like, I'm normal, like right now I'm about 215. I was about 160, 155 pounds, soaking wet. Um, I was basically Smeagol from the Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah.
I was
Oh,
Smeagol,
wow.
and um, I didn't know, like I didn't know what I was gonna do. Like I just like I knew I had to get better. I didn't know how. I wanted a better life, but I wanted to kill myself. But I
Hmm.
was too chicken shit to kill myself,
Yeah. Right.
So, but the impending doom factor was I knew that if eventually if I didn't clean up my act, it was just going to be a matter of time till the jail's institution and death was going to come. It
Right.
was just a matter of time.
Mhm.
This feeling of this gray cloud of impending doom. Um, so finally, I got offered to go to the Big Island because I had an auntie. My dad's sister had this thing called recovery. She had 8 years,
Mhm.
and so I moved over. So I grabbed my guitar with 4 strings and a garbage bag of clothes,
Yeah.
and I moved to Hilo. Got introduced to 12-step program, and this is a lot of years. So I mean, graciously, this has been a lot of. So I'll kind of sum it up into certain events, but.
Mhm.
Um, After 5 months of being in 12 step, I was doing everything that was recommended. I had an opportunity to go to a convention, a 12 step
Mhm.
convention
Oh
in
yeah.
Honolulu. And again, I never been convicted, never been, I voluntarily put myself in there.
Mhm.
I had this reservation like, hey, maybe I can get away with this one more time. I can see if I can trick these old timers in thinking that I sober.
Mhm.
And um, so what I did was I got off the plane. I went to Waimanalo Beach Park. I grabbed a dollar paper and I smoked the whole thing one crack.
Oh.
Let me tell you the progression of alcohol. So being that 5 months clean and sober, right? So with alcohol and drug addiction, right? Your life keeps going down.
Mhm.
When I picked up after 5 months of not drinking and using, it wasn't back from here again. Like it
Right.
picked up from here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that using all the bugs, all the
Mm.
paranoias, the tweaking out, the
Mhm.
like it was all like came back from then, that
Mhm.
one bag. And so and I don't recommend this to anyone. Don't, try not to get loaded and go to a 12-step convention. but what happened was I was holding hands doing the serenity prayer with about 2,500 sober, people. And it was at that moment when I realized that if I wanted what these people had, I needed to be honest with myself,
Right.
not with anybody else. Like I had to
Mhm.
be honest with me, the rigorous honesty.
Yeah.
And that's where that was November 7th. So that was the last time I had used. Now, to fast forward, so I was kind of doing the deal, and again, um, the first couple years I was doing the deal, and um, but for 12-step purposes, I didn't finish all my steps. I did the first three, and I was like, I don't need to do all these steps. Like my life is good already, like I don't need to do all this stuff. Like my life is good already. And so I started chasing. I wanted the American dream. I wanted money. I was broke. I wanted property. I wanted a house. I wanted prestige. I wanted a family.
Mhm.
You know, so I went after these things, and kind of steered away from 12 step. Did my own thing. And this is so my experience with this is from sober years. I call it the sobriety years.
Mhm.
From years 2 to 7, I put myself in a position where I was clean and sober, but I was a total wreck. Like I
Mhm.
was broken in every means possible, like mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. I had eaten myself to oblivion because I was
Mhm.
depressed all the time.
Yeah.
I had no spiritual, like, higher power whatsoever.
Mhm.
And I got to a point where, like, got divorced, cars got repoed. Um, the thought of suicide at 7 years sober crossed my mind
Mm.
because I already knew, like, alcohol and drugs wasn't gonna do anything.
Yeah.
I said, shit, I might as well just bypass that and just end it.
Yeah.
No point. Like, I can't even do sobriety right.
Mhm.
And so what happened to me was I was able to pick up what I had and go back into 12-step
Mhm.
programs, and that was very humbling because then that was the second revelation was that just being sober wasn't enough.
Mhm.
Just being clean was not enough. I had to be actively engaged in recovery. It works both ways. Like faith without works is dead. Like
Yeah.
you can have all the faith you want, but if you're not working a program, you hear of people that go to church on Sunday and then Monday through Saturday doing a whole different trip.
Yeah.
Like so it was like it was important for me that I had to work both. You know, like I cannot trust in a God and allow him to be a pinch hitter and just come in and rescue me when things weren't going my way.
Right. Right.
Like I had to do the work. I had to do the footwork, you know? And so, and by the way, I'm not against church anyway, but I'm just, I'm just using it as an example. But so what had happened was, I finally met the one. I
Yeah.
met the one. She was gonna solve everything, and she was also in program. She was also in recovery, um, and we were having a daughter. And I was still about 10 years sober, and my life was falling apart again. And I was this time I was involved in recovery, so I was figuring out what's happening here. Why am I continually doing these things that are self-sabotaging
Hmm.
and setting myself up to fail? And it is from there when I started I had sought outside help of 12 steps. I started
Hmm.
seeing a therapist,
Hmm.
digging out the root causes and symptoms of why I continue these certain behaviors. So, I won't be the first to say it, and I probably won't be the last, but like for me, 12 steps isn't a cure-all program.
Hmm.
I definitely encourage, outside means, professional help
Yeah.
to get those things out. Because it wasn't like what I was doing was I was picking the weeds from the top, and
Right.
I
Right.
wasn't digging in.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't digging the roots, you know. So that helped. That was a life changer, and it helped because so my other half, she's a certified substance abuse counselor here in Hawaii. I was kind of her guinea pig for a number of years, um, because she was able to, and she played a huge part. I'm forever grateful. Even if we don't ever last, like I'll be forever grateful for her. And I try my best to, obviously I want to grow with her. We grow independently, and then as a couple we grow together.
Right.
But yeah, I was her guinea pig because she was able to get the treatment side approach, the science approach of
Hmm.
these continuing patterns of behavior. And so yeah, so and COVID hit, and it changed. It didn't really change much I mean, and I'm just, I know a lot of people are struggling out there,
Uh-huh.
and I get it. I'm not, but like my rock bottom and my bottom at 7 years of sobriety was kind of the stepping stones of experience to show me that no matter what's going on in my life, COVID or not, like I've been, we gotta trust the process and keep doing the work.
Hmm.
And so, like, because of that, those experiences, the great teachers is our experience. It allowed me to keep pushing forward. I go to this gym, Imua Iron, and it's kind of a reminder to conquer. And it says Imua always, which means
Hmm.
Imua means to push forward, and we
Yeah.
keep pushing forward. You know, we don't regret the past, nor we should shut the door on it, but like we keep moving forward. Even if it's just a little step, we keep moving forward. We keep pushing ourselves forward. Because then we'll be able to look back and go, damn, all those times that I wanted to give up, I just kept pushing forward. So whether it's someone that's new in recovery, if you're just trying to stay sober for the next hour, just keep pushing, like
Yeah.
it gets better. None of us like that have a little bit of time I didn't go from 1 day to 17 plus years. I went a day at a time, just
Yeah.
like everybody else. You know what I mean? So anyway, so yeah, so my life today, I look at it as like a rose. It's beautiful, but get thorns too. So you know what I mean? So it just depends on. It's not all peaches and cream. Like it takes work. You know,
Hmm.
um, it takes work. I cannot get complacent in my recovery. The moment I get complacent, that's when my grass turns brown.
Hmm.
That's why they call it keeping it green, because I gotta keep at it. And yes, it is easier. It gets easier. You know, but at the same time, so there's this ongoing conversation that I hang out with a bunch of guys, some of the brothers here that are like minded. We in recovery. You know, we call each other on our crap. You know, we
Yeah.
keep each other accountable. And it's not just like, it's like a different type of man that we were known to being raised with. You know, like
Mhm.
the guys that we idolized growing up was the guys that could throw blows, the
Mhm.
guys that could beef, the guys
Mhm.
that could show their anger. You know,
Yep.
and it's not, or the guys that used to be able to sleep with all the girls. Like that's not what we're trying about today. Like the
Mhm.
true man, right, is being able to be transparent, to
Mhm.
be honest, to be rigorously honest with ourselves, you know, to be accountable for ourselves, to be consistent. Like these are things I'm still learning, you know, at 17 plus years.
Mhm.
Because you know, if I've been using and drinking all this time, and if I'm consistent at that, and I'm gonna try and do this new way of life, like I cannot just do it like 2 days and think that, oh, everything's great, or 2 weeks. You know,
Yeah.
like a habit at minimum takes 60 days at habit minimum.
Yeah.
So you know, it's 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 hard work, but it's not as hard. Like it wasn't as hard as getting sober. Like the maintenance of recovery
Mhm.
is a lot easier once we develop these healthy habits of living, you
Mhm.
know, these lifestyles. And you know, I'm living the best life I ever know. Like, and it's not even anything crazy. Like, I work a regular sales job for a mom and pop store. You know, my daughter's in gymnastics. You know, we
Mhm.
don't go. I went on one vacation in 17 years to Japan. You know, I don't live this like lavish life, but like, I to me, it's like the best life ever because I
Mhm.
was the guy sleeping outside here. You know, smoking under the cardboard in a or with a car with no gas because I'd rather buy dope with that, like
Mhm.
right outside. Like I was that guy, you know. The 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 concrete on the pavement was my Ritz Carlton, you know.
Yeah.
Just having a roof without having the cardboard, that was my freaking Sheraton. You know what I mean? So like, I don't live an extravagant life, but I'm so like excited and stoked about my life today because I'm not there anymore, and I can be eligible for that too if I choose not to continue doing certain things in my life today, you know. So but that, in a nutshell, that's
Yeah.
kind of my story. And I'm super stoked to, you know, be able
Yeah.
to tell it. So
Oh man,
right on.
I'm
Thank you.
super stoked. I am blessed to have heard these words come out of your mouth, bro. You know what I mean? Because bro, I mean, we're both from Hawaii, and like to connect with somebody that they grew up the same exact way. Everything we learn in Hawaii, we both learn the same things, and then to hear you talking, just solution, 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 solution. Wow, that is encouraging to me. You know, and okay, as you was talking about, I wrote down a few things. So,
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
yeah. So you talked about one, bro. Like about being sober is not enough. Like like we feel a man unthinking when he says sobriety is enough. Like for me, I went into a 12-step program looking for sobriety, but then I found recovery. I was like, oh dang, it's not the same kind of thing. I thought it was. I thought it was the same thing. I didn't know until I walked into the rooms and I started to uh, I had to stop listening with my mouth and I had to start listening with my ears. Once I started doing that, I was able to receive what these people were saying, and I got to learn that, this is just my take on it. Um, Staying sober today or not drinking anymore and not using drugs, that's the easy part of recovery. The hard part is dealing with me. That's the hard part because I am the problem. The drug wasn't my problem. It was always my solution. It was
Bingo.
me. It was the way I thought. How I maybe how I treat my wife, how I talk to my son, or how I treat other people in general. Am I patient? Am I kind? Can I have compassion? Like am I all these things. That's the hard part of recovery. That
Yeah, no,
people.
and obviously, like we get to experience these gifts of sobriety,
Yeah.
you know. But I mean, first and foremost, we do the sobriety first. But
Mm-hmm.
by doing the sobriety, by being open and willing to try it, it gives us avenues. It gives us opportunities to do these
Right.
things. You
Yep.
know, we become better fathers,
Yeah.
better husbands, better employees. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we can look and seek that outside help or whatever self-improvement things to make
Yeah.
us better people in general. And it's all a culmination of all these things that make us who we are, you
Yeah.
know. It's
Yeah.
great. It's
I know,
great.
but
You know.
one of my friends, I forgot what state he's in. His name is Adam, but he said once, I think it was at my meeting on Wednesday, he said sobriety is like going to the gym, and recovery is actually lifting the weights. You know, I was like, oh, bro, that's so good. That makes so
I love
much
that.
sense. That makes so. I know, especially you. Like
I love
the
that.
viewers cannot really see you, but you're a big guy, man.
Well,
Your
it's
arms.
yeah. It's funny. And again, this is all recovery related. But like,
Uh-huh.
when COVID hit, I was we were trying to work and make ends meet, and trying to survive, but my daughter is an avid gymnast, and she'd come home from practice, she want to play, and I'd be sitting on the couch and I'd be like, baby, I just not, I'm not up to it. Like I'm tired, like I don't want to. And I was doing that day in, day out, and I found out like, oh man, I'm becoming that dad, that dad. So I started slowly like, I'm gonna start going to the gym just for a little while, just for a little bit, and then I started picking up a little bit, and so next month I'm gonna be competing in my first strongman
Oh wow.
competition.
Yeah.
A year later, going into it, and it's crazy because it's like I was 1 year ago, I was sitting on the couch eating my popcorn and mochi crunch, like watching Netflix and chill, and
Yeah.
here I am now competing, like, so again, that's like with the thing with sobriety and recovery, it's like we don't know, what the result is. We just
Yeah.
put in the work
Right.
and doors just open up, you know what I
Yep.
mean? And we don't
Mhm.
know. And that's the beauty of the unknown. I used to be very fearful of that.
Yeah.
But now, I'm not as fearful because it's been my experience that when I trust the process and I keep doing what they suggested or keep doing the do, life is unbelievable, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah. The next thing I wrote down, bro, as you were talking was you talked about like seeking help outside of 12-step program, which I'm totally in agreement with, because and like I love my 12-step program. If it wasn't for these people, I'll be dead probably, because that's where it started for me. But that's not like where it ends, so to speak. We just keep building on it. That's my foundation. Because like, my sponsor, he didn't teach me how to manage my money. He didn't teach me how to have a successful marriage. He just literally had a working knowledge of the 12 steps and he walked me through it. That was it, all these different things. It's also like nutrition. I didn't learn that from my sponsor. Weights. Well, my dad is a power lifter. He competed for years, like all around the world actually.
awesome.
So I learned that from him, that kind of stuff too. Like, but I'm not trying to say that like, oh well, don't go to 12-step meetings and stuff. No, it's good, but like, because what I learned there, you talked about having an open mind. I learned that there. So, that just went with me everywhere. So like, oh wow, I can seek, whatever it is, I'm on this. So, okay, 12 step doesn't necessarily provide it. So I'm going to go seek it out at this professional or at that one or whatever, any kind of some sort of counseling or therapy and things like that. I think that is very, very, very helpful. And it's good. I'm glad that you brought that up so people can be more aware of it as
Yeah,
well.
totally. I mean, I agree. Like, like, and I said again, I'm only sharing my experience, right? So I got
Right.
sober through the 12-step program, but like you just said, it allowed me to be open and willing to do other things outside of that to seek outside help. Like
Right.
exactly like you said,
Hmm.
like how to build a better credit score, how to
Yeah.
be a better dad,
Right.
how to be a worker amongst workers, like how to
Mhm.
power lift. Like I'm not gonna get that
Yeah.
said, like some, you know what I mean? Like all these things, but like just because we built that foundation,
Yeah.
it allows us to be open to doing other stuff because if that foundation is set, because they talk about it, practicing principles in our affairs.
Right.
The principles are set, and then we go out and do the do and seek outside stuff to become better people at whatever we want to be. No, it's
Absolutely, man.
yeah,
Loving this
100%.
conversation, man.
Yeah.
Loving this, man. No, so the next thing I wrote down was this is a lot of stuff I actually wrote down when you were talking. So you talked about like with you and your other half, how you guys grow individually and you guys also grow together. Because that's the same like train we on, me and my wife. Like like we do certain like readings, like we have a marriage book, you read together. But my personal development, and my personal growth is not dependent on if my wife's gonna do it with me or not. Like I gotta do it. You know what I mean? I gotta continue to grow like along spiritual lines and then grow in like how can I be a better husband? How can I be a better father? How can I be a better provider? How can I be a better human being? You know, a better son. You know, all these things, and all of those for me personally. That time comes with my time alone that I have with God, and and then in turn, me and my wife, we do that like we do things together, like to grow, and we make it like intentional. You know, I believe growth has to be intentional. Like I mean, you get some muscles, but you're a big guy. Like you intentionally went to the gym, you intentionally lifted the weights. It didn't. You never get that size on accident. You know what I mean? You
Mm-mm.
know, and stuff like that. So that's something like I always like to talk about.
And you
And
know
kind
what's
of
funny too? I'm just gonna jump in real quick, but
yeah.
it's funny because even though like we're my partner and I are in recovery,
Mhm.
like and a lot of times, you know, on the surface it looks like we have a lot in common, and we actually have not a lot in common other than being Asian and being sober, clean sober, and our daughter, and we have, you know, we want the best for our daughter, but
Right.
so in those times, that's why it is important where you know, I'm no marriage therapist or anything. I'm just
Mm.
speaking my experience, but like I had to learn. Like I read like the five love languages. I had to know
Yeah.
how to speak her language because you know you know men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Hey, that stuff is true. You know what I mean? Like what we men project or say is what women say is and I don't want to, you know, get into it, but like
Yeah, yeah. No,
we
I
speak
understand.
differently. So what we learn to, again, being open minded, we learn to speak because if that's what our interest is, if I want to be a better partner, what am I willing to do to be a better partner? How much of myself am I willing to change? You
Mhm.
know, because I cannot change her,
Right.
but I can change me. And
Mhm.
ultimately, I'm grateful that she stuck around because, like I said, I'm one of those sometimes slowly guys. Like took me over a decade to, you know, to finally like accept like, hey, maybe I don't get them. You know, maybe my way of things doesn't work. You
Right.
know,
For real.
so yeah, so I'm grateful for
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And then you talked about these last couple ones to kind of intertwine about doing the work and moving forward. Because I come to find that there in the process of recovery there is a part that God does for me. However, there's also a part that I have to do. Like we never actually hear people say recovery is absolutely guaranteed. Like we don't hear anybody say that because there's a human element attached to it. If there's a God that does his part, then we still got to do our part. It's when we're unwilling. We don't want to look at our truths. We're scared of the fourth step, or we're scared of making amends, or we allow fear, and then it chases us out. And we can go back to doing what we want to do. And that's why, like, that's my take on it. That's why we never really hear somebody say, "Yeah, recovery is guaranteed, pal. No worries, you get them." You know what I mean? Like, because we're human beings. We have character defects, and we're faulty, and and all these things and stuff like that.
Yeah, nobody, I mean, at least from my experience, nobody that I've met came into a 12-step program and said, hey, nice day to get sober today. You know, like, you know what I mean? So we come in very like hurt, and we
Yeah.
come very like we're in a lot of pain. There's a lot of
Mhm.
suffering, you know? For me, like, and again, I don't think I'm unique, but like, like the 12 steps, like I didn't finish my steps until 9 years of
Yeah.
sobriety,
Hmm.
you know, because I I just thought that I just do what I needed to do, but the pain became so great
Yeah.
that it came to a point where like if I don't do these things, if I don't do it, I'm gonna I'm gonna keep finding myself in these baffling, intolerable situations,
Right.
and that I'm putting myself in. It's not everything else persecuting me. I'm
Hmm.
persecuting me. You
Yeah.
know, like you said, I am the problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
The drugs and alcohol is just a symptom. Like,
Yeah.
why is
Yeah.
my life going crazy and I'm already in 10 years clean and sober? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's huge. It's a huge part of it. You know,
Yeah.
huge
Yeah. I
part of
like
it.
that. Yeah. That, Imua, I like that. Forward, moving forward. Hey, even if you fall flat on your face, that's you're still moving forward. You know what I mean?
Still moving forward.
Just got to keep getting up and keep getting at it. So, okay, bro. As we winding down now, I'm gonna ask you some questions.
Okay.
Okay. I cannot wait for this answer. So, The first question is, so why do you still go to recovery meetings after being clean and sober this whole time? Almost 20 years.
Okay, so well, it's almost. I'll be 18 in November, but it,
Uh-huh.
it seems like 20. But
Yeah.
um, okay, so for several so it's one of the things I go is because it's just one of my main disciplines that I've been doing. You know, it keeps me connected. It keeps me like it gives me an opportunity to possibly help someone, maybe even sponsor them into working the steps. It keeps me like just provide sober support, but
Mm-hmm.
also like there are times um, where things aren't really like sometimes I need to pick me up, you know?
Right.
And so depending on my perception, right? If I'm going to a meeting, sometimes because hey, sometimes there are some times in my years of sobriety where I would just go to hide out, like just to go in just to so I know I'm gonna be sober for an hour. I'm just gonna hide out and just just whatever. But like today I go in to listen for the message,
Mm-hmm.
not for the mess, not to judge people, but sometimes I need that message to hear it so that I can carry on throughout the day. So like in the morning, I like to go out to a meeting just because it sets my day up. You know what I mean? It starts my day on right,
Yeah.
and it allows me to carry on throughout the day.
Right
So
on.
yeah, that's why I keep going.
Okay. So wait, I seen Brother Chris had a question. So he says, has COVID, Zoom, or lockdown helped your recovery?
Yeah, so it actually elevated my recovery in many ways, and I'll tell you why. Well, and again, this is just selfish, but like it allowed me to go to a meeting and still wash the dishes and mop the floor at my home. You know what I mean? But ultimately, if if this is an inside program, right? If this is a spiritual program, the message will be carried no matter what, whether it's through this, whether it's live. Some people need that physical, that touch and that hug and stuff. Like for me, I'm a loner from the get-go. Like I'm an isolator. It's like yeah, I'll put myself on social media, but don't call me. Like like one of those weird guys. Like I'm just one of those weird guys. Like um, but for me, having said that, if it's a spiritual program, we can carry and get the message modem to modem, phone to phone, computer to computer. And I give credit to those people that have gotten and stayed sober through this COVID time via Zoom and these kind of platforms
Yeah.
because um, I mean that it is an inside program, you know. So yeah, it's actually elevated my recovery. It's
Yeah.
kept me it's kept me plugged in.
Me too, bro. Like it actually, I have expanded my network of like sober friends and people in recovery, bro. Like around the globe,
Yeah.
like people, and it's amazing. Like if I was to meet somebody in New Zealand or in South Africa that's in recovery, we instantly click. It's just amazing how that happens. But it's the whole reason why I started this Pro Recovery Power, this page on Instagram, was to help other people and because they don't got the same resources I had when I got sober. Because California, everything bad was locked down. Like you couldn't even leave your house for months. And I'm
Mm.
like, oh no, what about like the newcomer? What about the people trying to get sober now? What about these people? And that's how it all started, with that thought of helping somebody else. Then here we are today.
Yep.
Um, but the next question is, okay, what was the most challenging part of early recovery for you?
I'll tell you what, for early and post recovery, it's
Okay.
it's for me it's rigorous honesty,
Okay.
and
Okay.
I'm not talking about it's always been the challenge, and I'm not talking like the cash register honesty in the beginning was hard,
Mhm.
to be honest. In the
Mhm.
beginning was hard because I had sticky hands, you know what I mean? But like doing the right thing when no one was looking,
Mhm.
that took some time. I had to understand exactly what the right thing was at the time because a lot of times, like again, I came in very dysfunctional, right? I didn't have my shit together when I came into recovery. So I had to unlearn a lot of
Yeah.
things to learn what was right. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And the rigorous honesty, the whole like being accountable for myself took a lot of time because if all my life, even before drinking and using, I've been pointing the finger and blaming everything else for my problems. You know, if I'm not rigorously honest at doing being accountable for myself, you know, a lot of the situation, and I'm just this is just for me. A lot of my problems that I put myself in is I put myself there, like 99.5% of the time.
Yeah.
If I'm in a situation that's baffling, I put myself in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't God. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, this. It wasn't this. Like, it was me.
Mm-hmm.
But having said that, knowing that I'm the one that put myself in the situation means that there's a solution to it.
Right.
Where before there was no solution, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
I was like, it's everybody else, if I can
yeah,
just change this, if I can just change that guy, if I can just do
yeah.
this. But so so being rigorously honest for me, like getting down to like again, digging that deep roots
Mm-hmm.
of the causes and conditions has been the most freeing thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Like
rigorous
this is
honesty.
me too, bro. Like I tell people, the single hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life is be honest with myself. Like I don't think anything will come close to that. As long as I live on this planet, I don't think anything will come close to that.
Hmm.
And like you said, like for me, it was the most difficult, but it was the most liberating, the most freeing. That relief from the bondage of self, because I've been lying to myself for so many years, and I've been believing these lies, and everything. So, it's so nice
Think
to
and
hear
think of
that.
and think of and think of like when I was using
Mhm.
of how many stories I had to remember
Yeah, yeah,
because I had made up,
uh-huh,
what I told this person, what I told this person,
yeah,
what I told this person. Like, I don't have to remember. I mean,
yeah.
it's already bad. Like, I already got a pretty bad memory, but to remember the lie, of what I told, it's yeah,
Right,
it's
so
hard
I
work.
swear, like being an addict, alcoholic, bro, some full-time job. It's like
It
five
takes
full-time jobs,
it takes work, bro.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's the
this is
thing, bro. That's the thing. I'm glad you brought that up again, because that's what I was gonna say earlier when you talked about doing the work. Like it does, bro. It takes work. This stuff. It's not, and we're not. This is the thing. If anybody has ever identified as a drug addict or alcoholic, okay, you are absolutely not a stranger to hard work. You know what it's like, but
yeah.
it's the same exact amount of effort in a different direction. That's basically it. That's the only difference. But it was difficult for me too. I had to learn how to tell the truth. Like it was weird, bro. It was weird. And when I
Yeah.
tell the truth, I felt like I was lying. Like for like a
Yeah.
year, my first year sober, I was like, oh man, like should I just go back to lying or what? Like I don't
And
know.
and this is where, like, we talk about, like, again, when I was talking earlier in my story about the seeking approval, the
Yeah.
validation of my peers,
Hmm.
we talk about, like, in Kona, everybody fishes, right? They talk about how big their fish was. Good thing we get social media, because then we find out that fish is this big,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's like, we don't have to be those people anymore. We don't have to do that.
Yeah.
I think it's just really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like my brother Slick over there, baffle them with bullshit. Like we make up all these stories, and then we believe half of the bullshit that we've been telling each other. Like, we don't have to live that anymore. The
Yeah.
rigorous honesty allows us to truly free us from that bondage of self.
Absolutely, bro. And one of the most like one of my favorite things about being honest and being able to tell the truth today is, bro, I don't ever have to go look over my shoulder. Ever. Oh, bro, I was doing that all the time, active in addiction. And it was just crazy. So much anxiety. Like, like, oh my gosh. It was terrible, terrible way to live, bro. Um,
I
okay, next
agree.
question is, what's your relationship? I know you talked about it a little bit. So what's your relationship like, with your other half and your daughter?
Well, this I found to be true. The walls the walls within my home are the hardest to work my program of recovery.
Uh-huh.
And the reason why I say that is because it's it's easy for someone, like, with time, to come here, talk the talk,
Yeah.
and then go home and be exact opposite. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
The goal is to practice these principles in all my affairs, right?
Mhm.
Because our children are watching us, you know, like, oh, go grab me this, like, or do this, but, like, don't, like, that whole do as I say, not as I do, like, that's
Yeah,
bullshit.
yeah,
Like, that's bullshit.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like,
Uh-huh.
we need to be the example, like how you were saying.
Yeah.
And you know, I I'm not I'm always working on this. to really walk the walk,
Hmm.
or walk the talk, because it's, like I said, like, um, I'm trying to unbreak these cycles, the dysfunctions of what I thought was normal.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I'm learning and still learning, and by the only way I can really show is by doing,
Hmm.
you know,
Hmm.
and being consistent and being accountable, saying sorry and meaning it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Meaning, like, don't do it again. Like, this is a constant thing that I'm always trying to work at. Because complacency is a killer. Like, every time I can think of amount of times, like, oh, I can rest now. But no. Like, that's when, like, things start, like, hitting the fan. It's like,
Uh-huh.
they take a breather, step back, but then keep trudging. Like, don't stop. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, don't stop trying to make
Yeah.
improvements. You know?
Exactly. I know, I
Yeah.
understand. I see what you're saying, bro. It's like,
Yeah.
because a lot of us, like, we don't like it's okay to rest, but
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
stop. But
Of
don't
course.
stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't get stuck there, kind of thing.
My other half, she says it all the time. It's like, she says, work now, play later, right?
Yeah.
And we try our best to, like, we've sacrificed a lot to give our daughter the best life that she can, better than life, because our daughter she's predisposed. She's got double dosage. Both her mom and dad are both in recovering.
Yeah.
They're alcoholics and addicts. So even more so, we have to be vigilant.
Right.
And like, and she might pick up a drink or do a drug one day. But we just want to make sure that we provided everything that we could to
Right.
be the best parents, to each other. And one of the things is how I treat my partner
Hmm.
is what our daughter is going to see as what she's going to look for in a partner.
Right.
You know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
Hmm.
So, like right now, like, would I be comfortable with a boyfriend that was like me, and she had one? Like, probably not. But at least,
Right.
but that gives me the motive and opportunity to be better.
Right.
You
Hmm.
know, to
Hmm.
raise that bottom, to raise the bar of excellence.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's
bro.
cool.
Okay. And then so the next one is okay. You kind of talked about it. I heard you talking about it. So why is being of service so important?
Well, service, for one thing, it's important because it helps me get out of myself. You
Hmm.
know, a lot of times, there are moments where I'm in self-doubt, self-loathing,
Yeah.
self-pity. Like, I doubt my abilities. And when we talk about service, and not just for the newcomer, but just being service to anybody, helps me get out of that self. That's why they say selfless.
Yeah.
Selfless acts allows me to get out of myself. And I know, for the most part, like, the people that have helped me, that have paved the road for me for this path of recovery, there was no ulterior motive, I don't think. Like, at first I was like, oh, bro, why do you want to, why are you doing all this for me? Like, what's the motive?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they were doing it just because they knew that by being of service helped improve their recovery.
Yeah.
You know, it helped them stay sober.
Hmm.
And so, looking at it in hindsight, I can see now why, I try my best to be of service, because not only is it going to help me sober, but it might have a ripple effect. Like, we
Right.
don't know. We don't know who
Hmm.
is going to, I've had guys that been in and out for years and then finally get it, like, hey, I know a guy that has 3 years now, and I've known him since he was 14, and now he's like 28. But it took him what it took. He
Yeah.
remembered me from when he was 14, planting
Yeah.
those seeds,
Hmm.
and I'm not saying that I'm taking credit for it, but just to be a
Yeah.
part of that journey
Right. Yeah.
makes all the
Hmm.
difference. It makes all the difference.
No.
So
Okay.
that's why service, yeah.
Right on. And the last question is, bro, what would you say to encourage the newcomer or somebody trying to get sober right now?
Um, oof.
Yeah.
So everyone was a newcomer at some point, right?
Hmm.
Um, we were all given the gift of desperation. Some gifts were bigger than others. All I can say is that we are creatures of habit. you
Hmm.
know we are who we hang around with. You know, if I hang out with whining people, I'm going to be a whiner. If I hang out with winners, there's a good chance I'm going to be a winner because I'm going to emulate and do the things that winners do. You know, so it's very important. And I say this in a without judgment. You know, like when you're taking inventory of somebody, you know, like let's say for 12 step and you want to find a sponsor, you take inventory not to judge, but to see if they're walking their talk. You know, because all of us can talk the talk. We all can talk, you know, but to walk the talk, you know. I got a sponsor that he walks the talk, and it's taken me a long time to find them, but I finally found them. I know I had sponsors in the past that talk the talk. So it's important that for the newcomer, you know, find the people, find your tribe. You know, it's harder to get picked off when you're hanging out with a bunch of like-minded people. You know, and it is a copycat program. You know, nothing. This wheel hasn't really been reinvented. This recovery thing has been going on for a long time. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. You know, we just try and have to find that group of people. And if you want what they have, then you're gonna do the things that they're doing. You know, and like I said, and I will also say, you know, for those that are, you know, I'm not like anything that promotes your recovery, that you feel that supports your recovery. You know, whether it's church or self-improvement videos or, you know, anything that promotes your well-being. Like I'm just totally support that. You just keep doing it. But for me, I did the 12 steps, and I also sought outside help, therapy, to dig out the root causes and conditions. Because there's a lot of trauma out there that's not being acknowledged. There's a lot of mental health that's not being recognized. And I think that once we're able to, you know, I worked in treatment for before I was in sales, but like I would say 80 to 90% of those at-risk kids, it had something to do with their childhood. You know, and if we don't dig out those root causes and conditions, it's just gonna the patterns are just gonna repeat. You know, so for the newcomer, I encourage you to keep trudging. That you're not alone. That there are people out there that are willing to give the shirt off their back to help you out and walk you through, you know, this journey called recovery. You know,
Right,
so,
right on, bro.
yeah.
Oh, I'm so pumped. I'm ready to go to the gym now. Yeah. Hey, man, I really, man, I'm thinking that we should have did this sooner. Yeah.
I know.
But no, it's all good, man. But like, I really appreciate you coming on, bro, and like, you know, sharing with us, man. You got a lot of wisdom. You know, I mean, you have so much things that totally align with the way I live. You know what I mean? The way how I carry myself, and you know, we both fathers, and you know, it's so. But like, this is the part that really just is the cherry on the top, is we both from Hawaii. That's what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That makes it a little bit more, I guess, real, or I don't know what the correct word would be,
Well,
but
it's
it's so
relatable.
nice.
It's
Yeah,
relatable. You
yeah,
know.
relatable. I mean,
Yeah.
so nice that it's somebody else, bro, who you know, we grew up the same way. You know what I mean? It's not like the kind, like, okay, I know the similarities, not the differences and stuff, but there's something about another native, you know, like it's just different. But I don't know how to explain it, you know. But I really appreciate your time. Um, you know, I'll call you up later. I wanted to talk to you about something else because you mentioned something here. So I wanted to talk to you about that. It's nothing
Sure.
like super important or
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, bro. Thank you so much for being there, bro.
Thank you, Lika. Thank you, everybody, for joined. And you know, I'm very grateful and honored to the opportunity to
Yeah.
serve today.
Yeah, bro. Hey, we're gonna do them again. Don't worry, we're gonna do them again.
All right.
We both might be on the same screen though at that time. You know.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, bro. Have a good day.
Okay. Take care.
Okay.
Aloha. Thank
Aloha.
you, guys.
Okay, guys. That was Pat's story. If you guys got a story to tell, reach out to me and we can make it happen. I have the rest of this month booked up. Next month we are going to Hawaii. So I'm not sure. I didn't make a decision because my son's party is happening. So we'll be doing a lot of different things and doing things with a nonprofit. I have not made a decision if I'm going to continue to go live the second, third, and fourth week of September. I am going live. Actually, with Michael Ketter, who, if you guys know who he is, he made Simon Cowell cry. His amazing voice. He was on America's Got Talent. And he's going to be here with me live on the 4th of September at 12 noon. So, anyways, guys, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm gonna go live again at 3 o'clock in 2 hours with Sober Fausto. If you guys ever want hope, you guys ever need, if I'm telling you guys, I can't even talk because there's so much things I'm trying to say, but this guy just hope just oozes out of this man. He has an amazing story to tell, and that's not an exaggeration. I mean, talk about traumas, talk about sexual abuse, talk about addiction, talk about grand mal seizures, 30 of them. Amazing, bro. And he's still alive and he's still smiling. And he's been through all these things. He's been molested. He's been raped. All kinds of stuff has happened to this guy. And he still is smiling and helping other people. Oh my God. You guys don't want to miss that. We're going to go live in 2 hours at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I'll see you guys there. Thank you guys for tuning in.